Hi there, welcome to the Health Channel and Autism Voice for Children. Our goal is to create a world where autistic children and adults will live in and thrive. My name is Dr. Nema Lemo. Today we talk about the emotional impact that comes with the diagnosis of autism. Last week we talked about how the diagnosis of autism is done, and the link should be here or on the description box. How do we handle those words? Your child is autistic. Your boy is autistic. Your son or your daughter is autistic. I remember when I first heard those words, one thing that's for sure, that diagnosis is going to leave a permanent mark in your life. And I remember when I received those words, part of me was like, okay, this actually makes sense. And then after that, I was scared, I was worried, I was in pain, I was angry. And the biggest of them all was, how will the future of my son be? Which is a very normal feeling. It's a normal response to such a heavy diagnosis. And one thing that's for sure, the diagnosis has permanently shaped our family since then. It has been a permanent turning point for us. Now, each family will process their emotions differently, and how we process our emotions is affected by so many factors, and because each one of us has very different dynamics. And so what has remained for most parents is the fact that there's shock that engulfs after hearing those words. Is this moment of being in a very dark space, and you become numb. There's a way you even stop hearing what the doctor, whoever is giving you that diagnosis, is saying, because it's heavy. And that also is very normal. Now, you may go through phases, and the commonest first phase is usually denial and refusal, and saying, no, my son or my daughter is actually not on the spectrum. It's normal. So don't beat yourself up. It's very normal to go through that, because there are those of us, like for myself, I saw this diagnosis coming, but still it shook me. It shook me, and it took a while before I could actually comprehend how that's going to be. And as any parent, I remember going into a panic mode on trying to get as much information as I could. Like literally trying to understand from the genetics to why does he do this? And I was already a pediatrician when that came, so I could see that, and I knew where to get information. So I'm imagining a person who is lay, who is just a parent, and they all of a sudden is not understanding why my son or my daughter is behaving differently. People are commenting on your son's behaviors, and now you go there and you are told your child is autistic. It's very heavy. So you denying is actually a very normal response. As much as you're going to be in that space for a moment or for a while, depending on how you process your emotions, one thing I would really, really ask is that you should not deny your child to proceed with the intervention as much as you're still processing that diagnosis. So for instance, maybe your child is having challenges in their speech and you're not sure if can the child hear me. Usually one of the first things is they need to do a hearing test. So allow your doctor to proceed doing the hearing test and all the other interventions for that matter, as you process what that means, as you process what it means to have autism, so that you are able to run those two things concurrent. By the time you are able to get to the acceptance stage, your child would also have started to show some level of improvement in the areas that there were being challenges before. Then we all have dreams and aspirations for our children. For a moment, that diagnosis will shake that. It will really shake that. I would always say most professions have autistic people running. Most greatest invention. Personally, almost all people who are in the history books, they were on the spectrum in one way or another. And so there's that one end of the genius, and then there's this other end of people who need support. Okay, like they literally need support for them to perform their activities of daily living. So that's what we call autism is a spectrum disorder. So as much as you had so many dreams and aspirations, and now you have this diagnosis for your son or for your daughter, you kind of feel for a moment, maybe these things will never come to pass. It crushes you. It makes you ask, so what are we going to do? Is this going to be it? Will this boy be independent? Will he be able to live a fulfilling life? Will he be able to thrive in this world? How? And it's normal. So you feel sad, you feel angry. I remember feeling these emotions and asking all these questions. But the key thing is process your emotion. One thing that I've seen is most kids will be able to achieve very huge dreams. However, they will do it differently. And as parents, we need to get to a point where we are able to allow our children to be. Let them guide us on how we are to guide them. I'll give you this example. I have a friend of mine whose son is on the spectrum. Schooling has been a real challenge, as most of us. I personally also, schooling has been one of the biggest challenges. And so she got to a point where she stopped taking her son to school. That's not an easy decision. There was a point I was there, and I had to start going back to start reading on where did school start, the school systems, who comes with the school systems, what happens. I remember going through that literature at one point in time. This friend of mine got to a point where she was like, you know what, I cannot take this anymore. I feel like I'm wasting my time, my son's time, and money. And because it's not cheap training a child who has autism. So what she did is, his son loves swimming, and so she enrolled him into swimming classes. So when people are going to school at 8, she makes sure that this boy is in the pool at 8 because it's a heated pool. And this guy has been swimming and swimming. And right now, he's participating in competitions. And her goal is Paralympics. That's her goal. And I pray we are able to see this come to pass. So you can imagine making such a bold decision for your son that school is not for us. And so we are going to spend time and energy on things that my child enjoys. And so far, to be sincere, I would say it's working perfectly well, because she currently is even taking in other kids who also are on the spectrum and who are also having challenges, but they're just trying to find what else can they do to make them belong. So if you're a parent and you're in this space, just know you are not alone. You are not alone. It's gonna be different. You really need to study and research. There's a way out. There's a way out. Then my heart goes to all those who are parenting these children alone. It's tough. It's tough. You'll feel lonely. You'll feel isolated. People will not understand you. People will not understand your children. I know of people who have had to completely change their careers. Like the lady I'm telling you about, she was actually an engineer. She dropped being an engineer. She's a full-time mom who's taking care of her child. She started now a foundation just helping these children. So you can imagine such a shift. This is a girl who used to score straight A's. We used to school together. Not easy. You in this space, and maybe you are the primary breadwinner, and now you have a child who needs your full support. And we all know that it's very difficult to get someone who will be able to take care of these children with that kind of understanding and dedication. And I know of people who have had to quit their jobs because they just did not get someone who was able to do that for their children. It's not easy. It's not easy. What I would want to encourage you is, please don't give up. It's not going to be easy. It's tough. It's very tough. But the key thing is, this is still your child. They only have you. They only have you. And because they only have you, you cannot give up on them. You can't. You cannot give up on these children. It's not easy, and you cannot give up on these children. I believe in intercession. I believe in asking for divine wisdom, because I still believe there's a solution for autism. We are yet to find it. But I know the solution of autism will come from either professionals or parents who are parenting these children, because there's a reason. One of my mantras is there are no causeless effects. Every effect you see, there's always a cause. Some are very obvious, some you may really need to research and fact find for you to find it. But there are no causeless effects. So if you're in this space, there's a reason. And giving up is not a solution. The key thing is go through your emotions, process them, acknowledge them, question them, find solution. Divine wisdom helps, intercession helps, because every child is unique and every situation is very unique. Every situation is very unique. So don't stop and don't give up. So one thing I would also urge us as parents is we should give ourselves time and grace to process everything. You shouldn't just, it's heavy. So you cannot just pretend that everything is okay. It's okay to sit down and cry. It's okay to, I journal a lot. So it's okay to put down how you feel, the frustrations and all everything. I mean, you're a human being. It is okay. But at the end of the day, without accepting the circumstance you are in, you can't move forward. So the earlier you are able to accept, the better it is for yourself and the better it is for your child. Please keep that in mind. Regardless what happens, the goal for your child should always be to thrive and allow them to live a fulfilling life. I really hope this helps someone. Thank you and have a good day.